Hey guys, what's good? JJJBoxing. So we just seen what happened with Canelo versus Jermell Charlo. It was an okay fight. Obviously, could have been better. Like if Charlo decided to throw more punches, but he was too tentative and he was too worried about getting countered and getting hit, and he would just brace for the punches instead of trying to land his own, which made it for a fight like this. So it could have been a better fight, but I'm not gonna totally hate on Charlo's performance, but it was a combination of things why he didn't perform the way up to his potential. It was his first time under the big lights. It was a huge event, and maybe he got caught in the a deer in the headlights. The event, as you could see, the ring walk and being in the ring, he looked like he was anxious, but I don't know. That was part of it, I feel like. But then you obviously have the long layoff you had and the hand injury that I was talking about that I was worried about. But more than that, I feel like obviously the ring rust was there, but I just feel like he was afraid to get hit, and he would rather wait until Canelo finished his offense for him to get his offense off, which that won't work against Canelo. You have to do your own offense. You have to make Canelo respect you, and that was the problem with Caleb Plant as well. Caleb Plant never really got Canelo's respect, and I feel like Charlo, though, he has more power than Caleb Plant. I feel like his punches, clearly when he threw them, and he landed good punches on Canelo, good counters, but that's the problem, good counters. He wasn't starting his own flurries and starting his own offense. He was waiting for Canelo to finish his offense or kind of counter Canelo's offense, which you can't just wait on Canelo. You got to mix it up and do your own offense as well. But I feel like he was afraid to take the initiative because he didn't want to get countered by Canelo's huge power shots, and he was afraid to get hit. And that's why the fight turned out the way it did. I give respect to Charlo in the sense that it was a long layoff. He was moving up 2 weight classes. And he did take Canelo's best shots, and he never got severely hurt. He did get dropped, but he didn't get knocked out, so I'll give him that. I just feel like if Charlo threw his hands more, he would have definitely won more rounds and had more success, because it looked like when he did land, there was one beautiful left hand I remember that he landed in round 12 that was it was a massive left hand that you can see Charlo's got power in his shots, but the problem is, like I said, he just was trying to land counters the whole fight. And I said in my prediction that for Charlo to win, he would have to box and maintain control the distance, which he never really controlled the distance. It was more Canelo was controlling the real estate in the ring, not him. But the more of the problem was he never pushed back Canelo and got respect like Bivol would, and that was the problem. And another problem was other fighters like Triple G were willing to take Canelo shots to get their own shots in, and he wasn't willing to do that. Canelo, on the other hand, he does what he always does. He fights like this every time now. That's what you expect from Canelo. He's just very powerful and very strong. And let's just say, guys, if Charlo even initiated his offense more, maybe he probably would have gotten knocked out, let's be honest, right? Maybe if he tried to push the action more, maybe he would have got caught. And maybe that's why he didn't want to do it. And maybe, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm not saying that if Charlo did this, he would have won. He maybe would have got stopped, right? But at least the fight would have been obviously more entertaining, but he would have possibly hurt Canelo more. He would have maybe deterred Canelo from coming in. So it could have went either way. It could have made Canelo respect him more, and maybe Canelo wouldn't have just walked in like the way he would with the double jab and the looping right hand every time. It was money for Canelo. Even if Charlo knew it was coming, he just braced for it. He didn't even try to avoid it, right? So, yeah, I just feel like you can see Charlo's a good fighter, he's a good boxer, and the long layup did infect him, but I just feel like, the moment was too big for him, and Canelo was just too strong for him, I guess. And that's why he felt like he couldn't really push Canelo back at any point in the fight and gain momentum, because Canelo was just an unmovable object that he just couldn't maintain. But like I said, when he did land his counters, they were sharp. So it's hard to really say how good Canelo is after this fight. It kind of went, I would say it was the most obvious outcome that you would, not to say, I would have thought that Canelo would have knocked him out, to be honest. But it kind of played out, like it's not a surprise, not to say it was the most, likely outcome that it was going to be decision win for Canelo, but I'm saying is like, the way the fight played out doesn't really surprise me, but it showed me that Charlo did have potential to do better. And like I said, maybe like the long layoff and stuff like that affected him. And, but yeah, like I wouldn't say like, I think he tried following the game plan, to be honest. Canelo's just too strong, and, it'll be interesting to see, though, who Canelo fights next. I would say it was a good victory for Canelo. Obviously, it's a guy moving up 2 weight classes, but still, Charlo is a very accomplished boxer. He was fresher, obviously coming off a longer layup, but still. I give it a good performance for Canelo, but it's really hard to judge. Like, if he was going to go back into the Bivol rematch, you wouldn't favor Canelo. That's all after this performance. Then again, even if he knocked out Charlo, you still wouldn't have. No matter what he did here, it wouldn't have made you believe that Canelo could beat Bivol. But, I don't know. Like, I think a Benavidez fight, it would give you... I think Canelo has a strong chance of beating Benavidez, to be honest. I feel like he does there, but Bivol is just nah. Because Canelo did say after the fight that this Canelo beats everybody, but I really don't see that. He's not beating Bivol. Simple as that. That's just his. That's as far as he can go. That's the best guy in the light heavyweight division, and that's Canelo's max. He really can't go above light heavyweight. And light heavyweight is above his. He shouldn't even be fighting there, to be honest. I think 168 is probably the highest Canelo should be going at. I know we got the win over Kovalev, but it was a really washed-up Kovalev, and let's be honest, he was getting outboxed, and the reason why he gets outboxed is because he has a stronger guy in there with him. But when you get a guy like Charlo, who does have the skills, but he just doesn't have the strength to keep Canelo off of him, this is what happens. But when you get a light heavyweight guys with around the same boxing skills as a Charlo, maybe even less, they can do better because they can deal with Canelo's strength. And Canelo won't just walk in like that. Yeah, a good performance by Canelo. Still don't think, though, he's back where he once was. But then again, I never considered him number 1 pound for pound. So for me, he wouldn't be there anyway. But I don't know, like... This is not going to... Pretty much nothing he did here was going to convince me that he could beat Bivol, but this performance gives me more... And after seeing David Benavidez' performance against Caleb Plant, I think Canelo does have a strong chance of beating David Benavidez. That's a good fight. I think that's probably the better. I think that's the better option for Canelo to pursue, to be honest. Because if he goes and fights Bivol again and he loses again, like, that's just no good. I feel like he should get the Benavidez fight first, and then if he wins that one, then go for Bivol. It'd just be way better for business, too. Because why would he fight Bivol again, lose again, and then he fights Benavidez? Obviously, people would still want to see it, but it won't have the same, like, I don't know, it just won't be as good as if he's coming off a loss. And I mean, I feel like it won't sell as good. But that's my opinion, guys. Overall, I give respect to Charlo for trying to do, like, he tried his best, to be honest. He tried, like, he could have thrown more shots. Like I said, he was boxing and moving too much, and he wasn't throwing as he was boxing. He was more just moving around, which you're not going to win rounds like that. You got to throw punches. And I'm not saying he was completely, like, it wasn't a terrible performance by Charlo considering he was against Canelo, but, like, it would have suited him better if he threw punches as he was moving more, but he was afraid to get countered. That's the problem. So I give credit there for, he hung in there. He landed good counter shots. He didn't embarrass himself in there, but he didn't do anything special either. But I don't know. He called out Terence Crawford at the end of the fight because he's going back down to 154, which I'm liking that fight better than the... Now that I think about it, like, obviously I want to see Terence Crawford jump up and fight Canelo, but I think this is the perfect marketing campaign to get Terence... Because if Terence Crawford can beat Charlo better than Canelo did, that's an automatic fight being made right there. I can't see how people would say, oh, Terence is too small. Oh, Terence can't compete with Canelo. Because if Canelo fought Charlo and it was okay and he beat him, and if Terence fights him and he beats him more convincingly, why wouldn't Terence deserve that fight? You can't make excuses why the fight doesn't make sense anymore. Like, but if Terence can't beat Charlo, or if he looks bad, or, like, I just feel like if it's a very competitive fight, yeah, maybe people won't want to see it, right? But if Terence Crawford clearly beats Jermell Charlo, like, on the same level as, like, Canelo beat him or better, we got to see that fight. There is no more excuse to be made. Terence deserves that fight. But I do agree that I think that fight should be made, and it looks like Charlo wants it. So I'm really excited to see that. I really liked at the end of the fight, the interview with Canelo, how he said, I just love boxing. I really fucking love boxing. Boxing's my life, and it's given everything to me. I really like the passion he talks with there. It really, you can really feel it the way when he was talking there. I really thought that was cool. Charlo humble in the loss, no excuses. Like I said, he called out Terence. I really want to see that fight. I think that's a big fight to be made. Terence versus Jermell. Sign me up for that. And like I said, Canelo is supposed to fight Benavidez next. It's been mandated by Suleiman in the WBC. So make that fight next. If he gets past David Benavidez, bring on Bivol. If, like I said, Bivol has a next fight coming up at the end of the year as well against I don't think his opponent's been determined yet. Maybe it has now, but last time I checked a couple days ago, it wasn't. But he's supposed to fight it was from October to December he was supposed to fight. So we'll see what happens there. And then if he gets a win there, whoever he fights, which he probably should, because it's probably going to be pretty much a tune-up. It'll probably be still a good fighter, but it'll be kind of a guy we won't really think can beat Bivol. He gets a win there. Canelo beats Benavidez, or Benavidez beats Canelo, and then they face off against Bivol at 168. That's the best case scenario for boxing fans is. And then Charlo faces Terrence Crawford. And the winner faces Canelo down the road. But yeah, so there's a lot of different options we could pick. It depends on Canelo. He calls the shots. So if he fights Benavidez next and he wins, he can either fight Terrence Crawford or fight Bivol, which I think he would probably want to fight Bivol, to be honest. But there's definitely going to be demand for Crawford-Canelo fight if Crawford dismantles Charlo. That is for sure. But it needs to be made within the next 2 years because Terrence just turned 37. So the fight's got to be made in the next year or two, or it just won't. Terrence Crawford be too old, you know what I mean? So those are the fights, though, I want to see, guys, after this. And but yeah, overall, good night of boxing. Good. I actually fell asleep for the Lubin, Ramos fight. So I recorded it, though, so I gotta watch that back. But the Ugas Barrios fight was very good. Ugas's eye, though, it always blows up, and that's his kryptonite. Because he does so well, but then the eye blows up, and then that's it. It's just such a handicap for him. But yeah, so Canelo, he does what he always does. He got to sit down on his shots. Very explosive power puncher, and he just hurts your whole body. He lands on your arms, your body, your head, and it's funny because the one knockdown he landed, Charlo knew it was coming, but Canelo looped it into the middle of the guard instead of around the guard, and that was just smart of Canelo. And like I said, Charlo was just bracing for the shots. You can't do that. You can't just brace for the shots against Canelo. He's going to break you. When you got to slip them. You got to avoid them completely. You can't just take them unless you're like a Triple G. So, respect to Canelo. Good win. My prediction was Charlo by decision. I was wrong. And then my other prediction was if Canelo was going to win was by knockout. I was wrong there too. But I do feel like, though, the way the fight played out didn't really surprise me. But yeah, just for the reasons I mentioned, it's just Charlo was too tentative in there. And obviously maybe that saved him from getting knocked out as well, but it saved him. It cost him from winning more rounds because he was landing good counter shots when he threw them. Good, powerful left hook counter shots throughout the fight. A lot of the announcers didn't pick up on it, but there was one huge left hook he landed in round 12 that was big. He landed a really good straight right to the body, but like I said, he wasn't throwing enough, guys. He was just countering after Canelo was done his offense, and he didn't have any of his own offense creating his own because he wasn't comfortable enough to trade with Canelo, which, like I said, maybe it would have been his downfall if he did that. Maybe he would have got knocked out, but yeah, maybe he couldn't deal with the strength, you know what I mean? And the event was too big for him, but we'll see him back. He's a good fighter. Canelo's a good fighter. Great fighter. And yeah, guys, it's pretty late here, so I'm going to call it a night, but I'm excited to see Canelo's next opponents and if Charlo wants to pursue this Terrence Crawford fight. Really excited to see that, and let me know what you guys thought about the fight and this Triple J Boxing. I think I got everything pretty much. Just Canelo was too strong, landed his shots when he wanted to, and Charlo would sit on the ropes and just brace for them and get hit, and that cost him it. And Charlo was just not active enough, and yeah, so that's why it played out the way it did. And yeah, so this is Triple J Boxing, guys. Have a good night. Take care.